and gentlemen of Justin's Collection Plus. This is of course the first exclusive members only video review. Now today we're going to be taking a look at none other than the Cybernetic. This is a third-party unlicensed product that unfortunately met its demise at the hands of the Warner Brothers legal team. A gentleman known as IronGeek37 online saw fit to make his very own Cyborg figure, and that made the community very happy, me included, especially with some of the little components and bits and pieces that he included on this release. Unfortunately, Warner Brothers stepped in and shut down the whole operation. There were a lot of people who ordered who now having to go through PayPal to get their money refunded. It's a less than ideal situation, and even though we've been through some trials and tribulations, we're still left without a Cyborg. So at the very least, I thought I'd showcase this guy, the figure that could have been, and show you what he looks like alongside the other Justice League members. So what we are going to do now is take him off the rotating turntable and take a closer look at everything he comes with. And here we have all of the accessories that come with Cyborg. As you can see, this being the sort of super deluxe version, he comes with everything, including the wireless light-up display base, and we'll talk about that a little bit more in just a second. You can see though, he comes with a fair few swap-out pieces, and for this being a fully custom designed and produced figure, that's pretty darn impressive. I do want to start off by letting you know though, that the paint apps, especially on the head sculpts, aren't quite up to Hot Toys standards. Does that mean they're absolutely horrible? No, I don't think so. The chrome is really nicely done, and the skin tone is a little bit flat. That's where it falls apart, but the sculpt is pretty darn strong. I can see the likeness to Ray Fisher here. Let me know what you think in the comments below. You do get two. You get the regular sort of stern-faced one and the smiling one as well. Honestly, I don't know which one I prefer out of the two. I'm probably going to just opt with the regular one here. Now, he does also come with the battle mask. Now, unfortunately, you can see there are some lips and a nose sculpted there. I'm pretty sure it was supposed to be entirely flat. It goes from making something look really cool to a little bit goofy. I definitely won't be using this on my Cyborg figure. Now you can see he does come with a couple of options for swap out arms. For those of you who don't know, these are resin printed. That means they are a little bit delicate, so if you do have yours, and you'll probably already know this, just be a little bit more careful. I do believe this is painted in a Molotov chrome, which is a really nice finish, but can chip off if you're not careful. In fact, a couple of sections on my Cyborg have already done so. I've managed to touch them up, but that means that if I do go touching them within the space of about a week, because it takes a week to cure, they're going to just get all smudgy. Now you do get some fists as well if you want to go for some fighting action. Unfortunately, the articulation isn't too crazy. This is more of a static display piece to just fill the void of Cyborg in your collection. He does come with some weapons, or I should say one blaster and a shield. They just switch onto the arms themselves. I do like though that the chrome has some washes over it, and you will see when we actually connect this up to the arm, it does light up, which is a really nice touch. Now let's take a look at the display base. As you can see, it's a pretty much carbon copy recast of the Hot Toys Justice League ones. Unfortunately, it does say Cybernetic on the front. I kind of wish that said Cyborg. I mean, you're going to be shut down anyway, you may as well. The Iron Geek logo is on the front. It isn't really meant to be removable, but I managed to get mine off because I don't really want the big honkin' Iron Geek logo on the front there. I know it's the gentleman who actually created the figure and I want to pay homage to him, but I'm kind of doing that by having the figure in the collection. I would have much rather this just be blank or have the Justice League logo. That way it matches with the rest of the figures. The paint apps are fairly decent. You can see some weathering down the edges there. Unfortunately, this silver paint app is from the feet of Cyborg. It kind of rubs off over time. Now, for those of you who don't know, there's actually a wireless coil on the inside of this section. When you plug it in with micro USB and you plop Cyborg on top of the base, he lights up. It's a genius way of doing it, and something that's just a little bit magical. I don't know why Hot Toys themselves doesn't do it. What we are going to do now, though, is get Cyborg himself out here and take a closer look. And here we have the custom third-party Cyborg standing straight up and down the lightbox. No crazy poses or accessories or anything like that. not that he could really pull them off anyway. I see this guy as more of a semi-statue more than a 1/6 scale articulated figure. He's kind of along the same lines as a power pose release, which, trust me, for a custom piece kind of does make sense, because trying to engineer a bunch of joints inside this body with this amount of detail, it makes sense that Iron Geek wasn't able to do so. Nevertheless, just standing here, if you ask someone, hey, does that look like Cyborg from Justice League? I'm pretty sure 10 times out of 10 they're going to say, yeah, absolutely, that looks and pretty much is Cyborg from Justice League. It makes perfect sense that he was done this way as a custom release. If Hot Toys, however, eventually decide to go ahead and make him, I wouldn't really be all that happy with a power pose figure, so fingers crossed if they do eventually, down the line, sometime, make their very own Cyborg figure, they add just a little bit more articulation into the body. And here we have him up close and personal, and I have to say, honestly, for being a fully custom-made, custom-designed figure, he's not all that bad. He is incredibly intricate and incredibly delicate, but the detail is definitely all there. The sculpt, I think, works quite nicely on the body, especially at a glance. At a distance, it's going to be a really nice sculpt. Popping on the smiling one, same thing can be said for this one, although honestly, I do prefer just the neutral expression. That's how I'm going to be displaying mine in my collection. Now, the construction of this guy, as I said, is resin. There are some metal parts on the inside of the structure itself in the joints, just to make sure he's nice and secure. As you can see, when you pull out the arm itself, there is a metal piston on the inside there to give you a little bit of articulation. You do have to be careful because stuff will bump into itself, as you can see, but you do have some articulation in the arms themselves. You do have a bend there at the elbow, but it is very, very slight. For the torso, you do have a tiny bit of articulation at the upper part. For the legs themselves, you do have ball joints, so you do get a significant range of motion. For the legs, you do have a bend at the knee, but it is super darn delicate. And down at the feet, just a regular ball joint. No toe articulation, as far as I can tell. Overall, though, I'm pretty impressed with this guy. He's a very well-designed piece for a custom figure. It's just a dude at home, in his garage potentially, making his own figures, and that's really awesome. Now, you do have the interchangeable pieces. You can pull off some of the limbs, including that one right there, and you can swap them out with various accessories. This one, of course, is the blaster. They don't attach incredibly well. They are a little bit intricate to do. In fact, that one may actually go on the other side. When you do connect it up, as you can see, it joins quite nicely, and you'll see a little bit later, or in just the very next clip, what it looks like when it all lights up. But overall, I'm pretty impressed with the ability to swap out and change bits and pieces. It's already a feat of engineering that we were able to get a fully custom designed figure, let alone something that has this swap out changing parts. That's something that you'd expect from a legit first party company. While the quality isn't quite up to snuff in terms of the joints and in terms of the paint apps, this guy is still a really nice stand-in, in my personal opinion, for Cyborg on the shelf. Honestly, I think it's going to be a few years at least before we see someone else try and tackle this design for Cyborg, but for now, this guy's going to stand proud in my collection. And here we have him all lit up, standing atop his display base. I have to say, this looks absolutely phenomenal. I'm super impressed with the engineering prowess behind Iron Geek. It's literally a copper coil inserted inside the display base, kind of like what you use to charge your mobile phone. Then when it makes contact with the coil inside Cyborg's foot, he lights up. It's a really nice effect. Honestly, it's something that I wish Hot Toys would start doing, because it's a very straightforward way of having it fully wired and fully plugged in, while still maintaining a level of articulation and light up feature in the figure without having to worry about switching on batteries, which we all know is a right pain. And of course, just to wrap up this review, it wouldn't be complete without showing off Cyborg with the rest of the league, and here he is. I have to say, he looks absolutely fantastic, and right at home with the rest of his crew. Standing back a bit, as you can see, he doesn't really look all that out of place. Yes, the skin tone up close under really harsh inspection doesn't really hold up, but from a distance, I think he works a treat, and honestly, I'm super glad to finally have and Cyborg to fill out the Justice League. This looks absolutely fantastic, and I'm just a little bit miffed that Warner Brothers had to step in, meaning nobody else can pick up their very own Cyborg, because this guy looks like a total badass. Now, as I said in the intro of this video, it's going to be slightly different and condensed because this is a members-only video, so let me know what you think, and in the future there will be more members-only content. Like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next video.